Savannah Chrisley's on-again, off-again boyfriend, Nick Kerdiles, is getting some help cleaning up his latest dirty secret. Keep reading to get all the juicy details about what would have been Chrisley in-law has been hiding. Over the last few months, Nick has kept a very low profile on social media. In fact, according to his Instagram, his last post was dated all the way back to July. This was a huge change for followers who had gotten used to him posting pretty regularly. Where has he gone? Well, apparently he's around and doing the same things he's always done. Just more quietly. Nick Kerdiles and his former fiancé/current, maybe girlfriend officially, Savannah Chrisley, split for the first time in the fall of 2020. The breakup happened just a few months after the pair had decided to call off their engagement. At that time, they had been dating for about 3 years. Unfortunately, both parties mutually decided that they weren't emotionally going in the same direction. Savannah opened up with ET later on and revealed that the split was a decision they made together. At the time, they both recognized that they weren't able to fulfill each other's needs, so they respectfully decided to pull away from each other to prevent any hard feelings. Now, a year later, several media outlets have hypothesized that the couple is giving their relationship another shot. But they have definitely been keeping it out of the public eye. Neither has appeared in the other's social media posts. In fact, Savannah mostly posts about her family and entrepreneurial efforts. Nick, when he was posting, typically shared outings with friends or milestones in his Nashville real estate job. Some fans wonder if the couple's constant presence on social media had anything to do with their initial split. After nearly 3 months of static silence on Nick Kerdiles' Instagram account, followers were surprised to see that the former reality celeb had actually posted several Insta stories Tuesday. They were also shocked that those short video clips reveal that Nick has a pretty nasty secret. His Jeep Grand Cherokee had gotten pretty gross recently, both inside and out. Before and after videos show the profile of the outside of the car, as well as the mess inside. Nick even opens the back hatch and shows off the dirt, straw, and debris just taking over the trunk area. In his next story, he tags an account called @Cody_car_detail, a Nashville auto detailing business. It seems that Nick took his horrendously dirty vehicle to their establishment and let them work their magic. When next we see Nick's vehicle, it has transformed from a pumpkin into a beautiful carriage. The formerly filthy SUV is now a pristine, white Jeep Grand Cherokee. The paint gleams of fresh wax, the chrome on the tires shines, and the inside is even better. Every little detail has been attended to. The cup holders looked brand new without a lick of grime. The steering column and dash had been dusted, and the carpet even had tiny triangles vacuumed into it. Hopefully, Nick will opt to keep the vehicle clean for a while. Perhaps he even had a hot date with Savannah and didn't want her to see his dirty little secret. Well, that remains to be seen. As of right now, many outlets are speculating that the couple has rekindled their romance. In a recent interview with Savannah told reporters that Nick was still very much in her life and that they were trying to figure things out. Just last month, TV shows Ace reported that they might be living together. What we do know is that whether they are romantically linked or currently just friends, the pair have worked hard to keep their relationship out of the public eye. This is likely going to serve their relationship well in the long run. In a recent interview with Savannah told reporters that Nick Kerdiles was still very much in her life and that they were trying to figure things out. Nikki DeSrosiers has been working as a freelance writer since 2006, specializing in creating custom website content for small businesses and informative/news-based writing. In her spare time, she enjoys spending time with her 2 kids, watching medical dramas and annoying her friends with her love of 90s alternative music. The sun had just begun its slow descent over Nashville, painting the sky in soft gold and lavender, when Nick Kerdiles pulled up the gravel driveway of his quiet suburban home. To the outside world, Nick was the former NHL player turned real estate investor and Savannah Chrisley's once high-profile boyfriend. He had been cast in the glow of fame when their relationship made headlines and reality TV, but what most didn't know, what he had gone to great lengths to bury, was the secret that once threatened to unravel it all. He stepped out of his black Range Rover and glanced toward the side gate. Behind it, nestled among meticulously trimmed lawn, was the backyard he had transformed over the years, a physical manifestation of starting over. What it covered, however, was more than just dirt and grass. It was a mistake from his past, one that had festered in silence beneath the surface. It began long before he ever met Savannah. Years ago, when he was still chasing pucks across icy rinks, moving from city to city with every trade, Nick had made choices. Some reckless, others born from pain. After suffering a career-threatening injury, he fell into a spiral. The pressure to maintain his place in the league, the constant travel, the loneliness of hotel rooms that all looked the same. It drove him to find solace in darker corners. In California, during his stint with the Ducks affiliate team, Nick had gotten involved with a group of friends who lived fast and loose. It started with parties and champagne, but it didn't end there. Hidden behind smiles and filtered photos was a lifestyle fueled by adrenaline and secrets. Nick found himself pulled into a hush-hush side hustle that involved falsifying luxury real estate documents. A scam orchestrated by a broker friend who saw Nick's sports fame as a gateway to high-rolling clients. It was an unusually crisp morning in Nashville when the first whisper of trouble began to stir in the quiet hills that surrounded the Chrisley estate. The sun was barely touching the tops of the magnolia trees, casting a golden sheen over the manicured lawns and the pristine white facade of the Chrisley residence. Inside, Savannah Chrisley, always the image of poise and determination, was already 2 cups deep into her morning coffee, completely unaware that the man she trusted most was outside, wrestling with the kind of secret that could shatter everything. Nick Kerdiles had always carried himself with a cool, unshakable demeanor. A former professional hockey player with a jawline chiseled by fate and a heart that seemed, at least to the outside world, as honest as it was kind. Since he and Savannah rekindled their relationship after a brief, high-profile breakup, they'd appeared more stable than ever. Social media was filled with sunlit selfies and motivational captions, a curated romance for the world to see. But Instagram didn't know what lay hidden beneath the floorboards of Nick's carefully constructed life. It had started small, a mistake easily overlooked. Years before, during the darker days following his NHL retirement, Nick had invested in a shady cryptocurrency startup with the hope of riding the wave to recovery and redemption. Promises were made. Contracts were signed without thorough review. And then, one by one, the people behind the company vanished, taking the millions they had swindled with them. At the time, Nick hadn't told anyone, not even Savannah. He told himself he'd fix it quietly, that it was a personal failure, not a criminal one, that the losses were his alone. But recently, whispers of a federal investigation had begun to circulate. A name, Kerdiles, a portmanteau suspiciously close to his own, had appeared in a leaked list of corporations under scrutiny by the Department of Justice. Nick had received the call 3 nights ago. A voice on the line, crisp and emotionless, had informed him that investigators would be looking into his connection with the company. There was no formal accusation yet, but the implication had shaken him to the core. Now, as Savannah prepared for her podcast taping in the sunroom, Nick stood in the garage, surrounded by boxes of old documents, laptops, flash drives, relics of a past he thought he'd buried. His hands were blackened with dust, his expression tight with resolve. Today, he would clean it up. All of its secret, of course, wasn't just financial. Tied to the failed investment were private messages, NDA-protected conversations, even an off-the-record deal made in a backroom of a Las Vegas hotel with a man who now no longer existed on public record. And at the center of it all was a single red file folder, the kind you only see in movies, marked with a single word in black Sharpie, VACKDOR. He'd kept it hidden inside the false bottom of his golf bag. As he pulled it out now, the weight of it seemed heavier than it should be. With shaking hands, He opened the folder and began to sift through its contents. Printouts of blockchain code, wire transfer receipts, photos of meetings with anonymous investors, one particularly damning image showing him accepting a USB drive from someone whose face had been digitally blurred. Evidence that, in the wrong hands, could not only ruin his life but implicate others, Savannah included, if only by proximity.